It's Mark Marmer from Signature Electric. So I am here with my friend Michael, and I have to explain a little bit of why we're even here talking.
Sure.
Right? We've been friends for a long time. Our family's been friends, and your wife is visiting as well. So I'm thrilled to have you here. And we meet. Aside from anything else, we tend to have breakfast together. There's a little group of us that have breakfast together about once a month, and we had breakfast, and we catch up on whatever we've been doing, and all kinds of different things get talked about. And I met with you. You were away, and you were in a Waymo vehicle. And you started talking, and you had a million things to say, and I had a million questions, and you sent me a little bit of video that we could use, and I thought, okay, if this interests me, this is definitely going to interest my audience. So I thought if I could just get you together, so I really appreciate your taking a little bit of time to come here. So maybe just start with, how you ended up there at all.
Well, as you mentioned, we were on a trip. We were in San Francisco,
Right.
And I think it is Google that has this Waymo.
Right.
I think they came. I don't know. It's almost like way more, like Waymo, and apparently it's in 3 cities. I think it's in Phoenix, one other city, and in San Francisco.
Okay.
So you see these white cars, white 4-door sedans driving around with no driver, and they're just all over the city.
So you see this everywhere?
Everywhere in San Francisco. And San Francisco is a pretty compact. It's only 7 miles by 7 miles, right? And so you see these cars, and they have a thing on the top and all 4 corners. But other than that, it's a regular car. And so I wanted to try it. I wanted to experience it while we were there. So I asked my cousin. And
So the cousin is, so you're visiting your cousin?
yeah, visit my cousin and his partner.
Right.
And my cousin said no, he didn't want to. He didn't want to do it. He was absolutely not. But his partner said he'll go. And so he sets up an account like you would any other app. Whether it's Uber or whatever it is.
So he's never used it. He lives
He
there.
never
and he has
used it.
never
He
used
hadn't
it.
tried it yet. He hadn't tried it yet. A lot of people are afraid of it, right? Because you're driving around in a car, in traffic in the city, and it's my first time in San Francisco, but it's very hilly, narrow streets, and so I wanted to do it before we left, and so he set up an account, and he said where we're going, and then you see the car approaching, right? And it tells you it shows you on your phone that it's approaching.
Same kind of thing as you have with Uber, right?
Same thing. And then as soon as the car
Did it
gets...
take long for it to come?
No, it was very fast.
Okay.
5 minutes or less.
Oh, that's great.
3 or 4 minutes. And so the car arrives, and then on his phone, he touched a button and unlocked the car doors.
Okay.
That's the first thing. It's like, okay, because there's no one there to unlock the car for you, right?
my God.
And this prevents anybody else from just getting in, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right? So get in the car, and there's no one there, but like someone's speaking to you. It's obviously pre-recorded, and so you put on your seatbelt, and it's okay, we're ready to go. And then the car pulls away, and the steering wheel's turning as if there was it's like the invisible man is driving the car. It's like the oddest thing.
And so what was it? I can hear the excitement in your voice, so
Yeah.
I know you,
Yeah.
so I know you're thrilled.
Yeah.
How about your passengers? How are they feeling?
Oh, they
at the moment?
were super excited. It's like,
good.
like you're like kids in candy stores, like first going to the circus. It's like you're kind of in awe, right? Because we've all been in cars, for our lives, always since young children, and learned how to drive. Then you're a driver and you're a passenger. You've never been in a car that's just going by itself in traffic, right?
It also sounds like a challenging place. It's not a nice, wide, clear. When you say narrow roads.
Well, it's the roads are normal, but then as they approach, they live in the Haight-Ashbury area, and it's very hilly, and the streets there's cars parked on both sides. This is as we're ending the ride, okay? And there's cars parked on both sides of the street, and there's only room for one car to drive through.
Oh.
But it's a 2-way street.
Right.
So what happens if 2 cars are approaching, they kind of have to be courteous, and somebody backs up and lets the other person go in.
Oh, this is kind of the norm of how
That's the
you
way
manage.
it is.
Okay.
That's the way it is where they live, okay? So the Waymo approaches their street, and all of a sudden, a car is coming, so it backed up, right? It approached again. It kept going
So
like
it's really trying to be careful.
3 times, very, very slowly and carefully. 3 times, then it stopped, and some kind of, I can't remember if it was a message or a voice came on. I think it was both. It came up on the screen, and a voice came on saying something about, I don't remember the exact verbiage, but it was something like it's contacting the control center.
So you think there might be some, at this point,
I
some
think
human interaction?
I'm quite sure. Okay, I'm quite sure it's human interaction, that somebody's looking on a screen because they can see where the car is, they see what's going on, and then it just backed up and then went to the next street and dropped us off.
Oh my God.
So it didn't drop us off in front of their house, right? So basically it's okay, that's too dangerous to navigate, not safe, so it won't go. So there's a situation where it's not 100%, right? Because really it could have waited, but it's, just people believe that the Waymo is the ultra courteous, like it will not just go. It's very defensive.
Yeah.
It will take the position of stopping. Like if there's pedestrians, it stops. If there's cars, it's it's not going beyond the speed limit. It's not making fast cornering. It's not making fast braking. Right?
This area, do you think I take it's limited to a certain area that it will go? Like
Probably, yeah. I don't know if it goes into the general Bay Area. I have a feeling not, but you see a lot of them. Like you're standing in the city and you see those cars riding around.
Now that you've had this bit of an experience, are you positive about the idea that we might be able to do this?
Listen, I think, we're not in our 20s or 30s here, right? But I think that people who are, when they're our age, I think, you talk about the problems of traffic even in Toronto. Imagine if cars could drive, 3 feet apart, right? And just not have accidents because they're all in control. I think it's inevitable, right? That will be. And how many people don't even have cars now, and they don't want to bother with a car, and they're using apps like Uber to get around, right? Because the cost of a car and the traffic. So I think it's inevitable. It's already here. It's not make believe.
I don't think even with the Uber, we got part of this getting used to the idea already settled. There are people in the urban areas, like you said, that are using this idea already. So if the car was driverless, I think they would almost, if it worked well, almost see that as an improvement over having to deal with an actual individual driver.
If I lived in the downtown core of, we're in the Toronto area, if I lived in the core of downtown, I don't, but if I did, and I didn't really want to have a car using all the time, it'd be fantastic, right? I don't have to, okay, like Uber is great also, but I don't know if it's better or worse. I don't think it's necessarily better, right? And there are probably some kinks still to work out. It dropped us at the wrong place, right? It dropped us at the wrong place, right?
I guess you know how to get to where you were going.
There wasn't a problem. It was just a couple of,
I find even the same thing with the Tesla. It's pretty good, but it still is sometimes going to, it's amazing actually what it can do. Like when I'm willing to trust it and let it do its thing, it's amazing what it can see. Even in the city, it's sometimes better, but I see it occasionally not picking the correct. It's indicated what exit it's getting out at and started to pick the exit before. Think, I wonder how that happened. And okay, I grab it, right? It's a bit of more, frankly, I think part of the adjustment is on my end. I need to try it more, be willing to give it a little more leeway.
Right.
It's hard for, like you say, hard for somebody like you and I who've been driving a long time.
It has to be whether the economics have to make sense, right? That's what Musk was saying, right? He wants it. Listen, does he ever hit what he wants to hit? But when you talk about the car being $30,000, well, okay, that's an interesting price point. I don't know that. If the
price
is low,
certainly didn't come in within.
For me, if I had a car like that was like I could just get in the car and drive it when I don't want to, and don't drive it when I don't want to, and it'll just take me completely, and I don't have to worry about it. It'd be great.
So honestly, this is the question I've been asking online. If we didn't spend this $50,000 or something on the car and have a driveway and all the rest of it, and if something really would just come and get you, and it would always only take a few minutes, and the interaction to get the vehicle wouldn't be very hard, and it would always kind of be wherever you were. I think for me, I'm not thrilled anymore to be driving. I don't think it's some great pleasure. No. There was a time when it was kind of nice,
but in terms of driving, like whether it's a Tesla or any other vehicle, if you want to go drive to New York City, if you're alone or even two people and you can fall asleep and not have to worry about, right?
They're talking even more than that. Imagine, I was just listening to this today, Terry O'Reilly.
I've listened to him.
Yeah, he's
the
saying,
marketing guy.
Okay, so what happens if the inside of the car was outfitted enough that you could lay down,
sleep,
go
overnight?
Yeah, you don't even need the hotel anymore. There's no real value. You're not stopping at places. I know a lot of this sounds like imagination, but
it's not.
Everybody carrying around a camera seemed like imagination at one time, and now it's
cell phones are only in the past 30 years, right? In a serious way, right? So I think it'll still be like, maybe it'll take 5 or 10 years, but it's already here. We saw it, I experienced it in San Francisco.
That's
it was
great.
there, right? And they're doing it in 3 cities. If it goes well, it'll keep getting, they're probably working on the kinks, and I'm guessing there's a huge AI component, and so it's going to keep learning, right? So
Yeah, I believe the same thing's happening. I believe the same thing's happening with Tesla as they're getting this input. And I mean, that really is the part about it, is that you need to collect data. In order to collect data, you got to move the vehicles and collect the data. The more data you can collect, presumably the better it's going to go. But if nothing else, we certainly live in I think, a very cool time, let alone for the unfortunate things that are happening in the world. Let's hope that we do more smart and pleasant things and have exciting opportunities like you're having.
And I'll say, if you're going to San Francisco, and I think it's Phoenix, and there is a 3rd city, and you have a Waymo program there, get the app and try it, because it's pretty cool.
Okay, well, I think Waymo is going to have to pay you for that comment. Michael, thank you so much for dropping by and coming, and we'll have a little, we'll finish the interview, we'll have a little social time together as well. So thanks very much.
Thanks, pleasure, thank you.